Hello everyone, welcome back to Walt and Sarah's channel. Today we're going to be making one of these 3D inflated balloon puffed up tumblers. I am so excited because I have not done one of these and I see them all over the internet and I'm super jealous because I want one. One thing I see a lot of people complain about with doing sublimation is the color that yellow tape leaves behind. What you don't want is color on your tumbler, especially with something like this where it has light pinks and white. Having that yellow tape on there and that leftover residue is not going to be a good look. We don't want any yellow on our tumbler. So I finally found the perfect solution. Finally, prayers have been answered. We have clear heat-resistant transfer tape. Now, I just took it out of the box. I've never used it before. I'm super curious how it holds up with the heat because it is clear. Like, surely there was a reason they were giving us yellow tape, right? There has to be. So, I don't know, guys. I don't know if it's going to do something to our tumbler. I don't know if it's going to melt under the heat. I have no idea, but I'm just so excited because I have clear heat-resistant tape. So let's get into this. I cannot find my tape dispenser, so I'm going old school and I will be cutting my pieces off. And we also have the different sizes here. So that is going to make, so it's 2 and 2. That is going to make decorating our tumbler and taping it down a little bit faster because we have the thicker one. And then for those edges where we have to tape it down in the top and the bottom, I'm going to use the thinner one so that way it's more precise. Okay, so that was a pretty darn good guess. I was just guesstimating there, and look how close we got it, guys. That was pretty stinking close. Now, if you struggle with your seams, you have 2 options at this point. You can either trim it down just ever so slightly, and then you risk having like a fringed edge. So you could mark it with like a pencil, or sometimes if it's long enough, I'll fold it back. There's ever so slightly that little bit of overlap there. So again, you can either cut it down and then you risk having a gap between there. This is not a seamless design, so it's not like it's going to line up perfectly anyway. Or you can just have it overlap and then you'll have like double ink there. It won't be too bad. So rather than take the gamble of cutting it too far or having that white line there, I personally am just going to overlap it. This is going to be my cup. I'm due for a new tumbler. I haven't made any in a while. I've already got rid of some of my older ones that were getting a little funky. So I'm making this for personal use, so I'm not going to stress out about the seam. Again, you can cut it down to get super, super close, or you can just kind of overlap it. I'm going to overlap it. So there we go. Okay, so right now I have this seam taped up. I do have to say this tape is so thick that it cut the taping time, no pun intended, it cut it in half. So that was pretty awesome. Instead of me sitting here using all them little teeny tiny yellow strips, I was able to use just a few of the thicker stuff. And I probably went a little crazy, but I always do because I don't want any issues with pressure. Now, the next thing I have to do is I always tape down the top part. I just press this in and then I tape it down really strong. So I'm going to tape the top, I'm going to tape the bottom, then I'm going to put a piece of shrink wrap over it, stick it in my air fryer, cook it on up, and then I'm going to have an awesome cool new tumbler to drink out of. So all right, let me get taping and then I'll share with you what it looks like. So this is what our tumbler looks like now. I have the bottom pretty much taped down pretty good. You can see the design, how we have it. I centered his face as best as I could. His hands or down low. If I went any lower, I would have lost that bottom. You would have seen a white ring, which I don't want. So I went down as low as I could because I wanted that heart to kind of go up, but that's just the design. I got it off of Etsy, so I'm not going to be picky. This is what the top looks like. I taped it down as best as I could. It's a little bit hard to see since we are using the clear tape, but with the clear tape, I don't have to worry about that blue or yellow, orangey looking, brownish yellow residue being left on my white sublimation items. So next step is to stick this into a piece of shrink wrap, throw it into the air fryer, and see how it turns out. What I'm doing is I'm putting the shrink wrap around it. So once it starts to heat and it begins to shrink, it's going to shrink around my cup as I need it to. And I'm always going to stop and check on it as well. Now this air fryer is an older one. I'm going to do it for 370, you can't see it, or 380. And then I'm also going to do it for only about 6 minutes. Not 370, and I'm going to do it for 6 minutes, but then I'm going to check on it and flip it at around the 3-minute mark. All right, here we are, almost finished. We're almost ready for the big, great reveal. You can tell when it's done because you can see the image coming through so clear. You can almost see the entire thing popping through the paper and the shrink wrap. And you can also see how good that shrunk without using the heat gun. So it's almost like you can skip that step. I prefer to do it just because that's the way I was taught to make tumblers. But you could tell by skipping it, doesn't make a big difference, right? You can see it's on there, and it's on there pretty tight and secure. So our image is not going anywhere. I don't expect any ghosting. Bada bing, bada boom. I'm just waiting for it to cool down a little bit more before we take our shrink wrap off, as well as our paper. All right, everybody, the big reveal. It is time. It is completely cool. No burning my fingers. It is time to check out this 3D inflated puffy tumbler. The seam, we don't have any yellowing from the tape, no residue from the tape. Usually I will see lines from where the tape pressed down on it, and this one did a really good job at just making that nice circular design there, so it's much cleaner looking than the other tapes. I love this, especially when you do it like an angle. Hold on, I was able to see like this really crazy 3D effect. Like, look at the details on his face. Oh my goodness, this is really cute. I love the details in the candy and the tree. Looks very puffy, especially when I hold it further back. You can really see it. That is amazing. I love this inflated look. I think a lot of people are into it right now. It could definitely be a good seller for you if you sell your tumblers. Oh, and if people, question why they're so costly, you just explain that, look, there's some art that goes into it, some fancy details. You can't find these at Walmart as of right now, so it gives us a little bit of a leg up. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you give us a thumbs up. Make sure you comment below. Let me know if you've made any of these, or even if you design any of the inflated balloon style 3D tumbler wraps, if you will. Let me know down below. So I'll catch y'all next time. Bye-bye.